If one more person says mobile home to me, I'm gonna lose my shit. Come on into the ditch. I'm your resident ditch witch, Tara Tyne, and today it's property. Today I want to debunk some commonly held beliefs that people have around securing low-cost housing in Ireland. If you've been thinking along similar lines to me, and it seems a lot of you have, you may believe that 1. You can just put a mobile home somewhere and live in it. Oh yes, it's not that I turned my nose up at living in a mobile home. I actually bought one about 6 years ago after my second year of living in a holiday home, which I had to vacate every summer for tourists. I saved up, secured permission to use the land belonging to a family friend, and began about designing an eco-friendly rainwater harvesting and grey water treatment system. But within 1 month, the landowner had a warning letter in the door from Louth County Council warning him that it was unplanned development and it needed to go, despite the fact that I wasn't even living there yet. But my friend slash cousin slash neighbour has one in their gardens, I hear you say. Yes, and the chances are it's because they're either well established or well liked in their communities, or the fact that they have complete privacy from the road or from neighbours and no one knows what they're actually up to. Also, when a structure has been there unqueried for a certain number of years, it ceases to be illegal. Me and my mobile home, unfortunately, were subject to the full letter of the law. So I thought I'd share my experiences. Of course, upon realising it was a planning issue, I made contact with Louth County Council and asked them could I apply for retention planning, aka retroactive permission to place my caravan. They said that I should go for retention planning, but also that I definitely wouldn't get it, because mobile homes are counted as temporary dwellings and are not permitted except under the following conditions. A. That planning permission for a permanent dwelling has already been obtained. B. That the mobile home is on site for no longer than the proposed length of the build. And C. That during the proposed length of the build, the mobile home would be on site for no more than a continuous period of 9 months. In other words, I would have needed tens of thousands of euro, planning permission for a house I would need to begin building immediately, and if it was going to take me longer than 9 months to build a house, I would need to drag my 40-foot mobile home, which isn't designed for regular moving, off this precarious site for a 3-month holiday in the middle of it all. I feel at this point that I should mention the people these laws are really designed to discriminate against, and that's travellers. And in Ireland that doesn't just mean tourists. We'll do a video about that hopefully at some point, but I would want to amplify voices from that community rather than assuming that role myself. What you need to know for the purpose of this conversation is that they are a marginalised portion of our society who are traditionally nomadic and have their own language, culture and customs. But anyway, back to mobile home laws and my considerably privileged position. I'd heard about a loophole which might allow for a residency tied to subsistence farming, i.e. I thought that if I was carrying out small-scale agriculture to feed myself and perhaps make a little income, it might allow me, through the exceptions made for developments carried out by farmers, to place my mobile home there for a period of time. And yes, farming for yourself was included in the law. But nope, apparently it still has to be a permanent dwelling, which I won't lie folks, is bloody hard to get on your first try when you're on a low income. So after a year of back and forth with the council and on board Planola, I got my answer, which was no, obviously. Lol. Whilst I had been doing this, I'd also been fighting a legal eviction against a high-profile landlord for 11 months concurrently. I'm sure there are a heap of you watching this that know what that's like, so I'll spare you the triggers. And no, I can't just get a council house, but thanks for the suggestion. Unfortunately, I was knocked off the housing list without notice for admitting that I had been technically without an address for a period of 6 weeks beforehand, and this was before it was made illegal to kick homeless people off the housing list a couple of years ago. Yes, I appealed. No, it didn't work. I've also long since lost the will to live with Louth County Council's mandatory choice-based letting, which, if you don't have it in your county, is a hoot. Not. But hey, yeah, maybe council house will happen someday. I are optimist. Another well-meaning suggestion that people often make is a log cabin. I mean, I'd love one, but you're talking 40k for a small one. Before planning, cost of connecting power and water, septic tank and actual purchase of the land. And so far, I just haven't had that kind of budget. But look, I'm still working my artsy wee arse off every damn day to stretch that budget as far as I can. Keep your fingers crossed for me and support the channel! As for tiny homes, see point 1 and 2. Those are only cheap and viable if you're putting it in your own garden or your parents' garden, etc. Planning still applies, and if anyone is found to be living there, it is considered a dwelling and is, according to Louth County Council and on Board Planola, illegal. But obviously only if you get caught, which I did, because even if it had occurred to me to hide what I was doing, I didn't have that option, nor do many others. And that's what we're talking about today. I don't mean to sound bitter or anything like that. It's really just to highlight that not all of the options that immediately spring to mind are actually available to everybody. And because I'm kind of well placed to point out the gaps in the system, or whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm here to do, okay? Don't shoot the messenger, I don't write the news, I just report it. And myth number 4, the 25k section on Daft. That's actually only a starting price for auction, as most of you will already know, whether it says auction or not, whether it's kind of official or not. The value of those properties could grow depending on how many bidders get involved and how hungry the estate agent is. Maybe it's hashtag not all estate agents, okay, I don't want to presume. I've heard stuff though. So yeah, look, the point of this isn't for me to just be a big naysayer and say, no, you can't do this and you can't do that, or to come on here and sound like a know-it-all, okay? I have no interest in becoming a property guru, but I have had some experiences with being an alternative sort of person who took the creative way and just didn't hit it lucky enough to get that job that would give me the kind of stability that would allow me to work with a much bigger budget when it comes to housing. And I just know that times at the minute are pretty rough for everyone, even people who do have what I would consider to be a steady job. Credit rates are ridiculous, housing prices are ridiculous. We've just watched one property bubble after another come and go, basically since the bank bailout that apparently never happened. Let's not go there. I'm having a nice evening, okay, there's no need to ruin it. Mihal Martin. So look if you're interested in seeing me fling myself into this journey, which by the way is all about me actually trying to secure housing for myself with a budget, a starting budget of 25k. As I say, I'm trying to stretch that every day. But if you'd like to follow along and see how I get on, even if it's just to laugh at my completely naive attempts, hit subscribe for more property adventures. I upload every Thursday and you're not going to want to miss it. Slán agus beannacht, goodbye and good luck to you. Come on into the ditch, I am your... But within 1 month, get the car. Look at the car, oh my god! Yay. Oh Jesus! Oh, I think that was... Oh my god! That's definitely illegal. But then snitches end up in ditches.